the games are coming thick and fast, would you rather that it's like that, or would you rather have like a week to work with your team and actually try and work through the issues?
No, we want the next games to come as soon as possible, and the boys are ready for it, and when we're on a run like we've been on, and we're looking for the next win, and we want that next positive result, we want it to come as soon as possible, 100%.
You touched upon the run that you're on at the minute. Obviously, one wasn't built in a day, and a bad one doesn't make a bad team. When you're looking towards this Stoke game now, what do you want to see from your team in terms of improvements?
I think there's been a lot of times when we've been in good positions in games, really, and finishing games off and managing games towards the second half is something we need to improve with. But you know, the effort and the togetherness and the attitude the boys are putting in at the moment. And let's be honest, it's challenging when you're not winning games, and it doesn't necessarily always mean that you can kind of keep dusting yourself off and going again and attacking the next game or the next training session. The boys have been unbelievable with that, and I can feel that, and you know, they're ready to win games, and we got to put that into practice. But I don't think we're miles away. I don't think we're far away. I think the amount of times we've been up in games and let games probably get away from us, we're definitely taking the positive in the fact the amount of times we have been up in games, and we just got to finish them off.
And finally for me then, with Collector Iheanacho, his position in terms of dropping into the 10 role, is that something that you've asked him to do, like a Tuba Akron kind of role, or is that just his natural style of play?
Yeah, Kel can play different positions across the front. You know, he can play as the 9, he can play on the last line, he can play and come and link. He's technically good enough to do that. We've seen him do it many times before. So, yeah, it's just the option, the type of player he is. There's a number of the boys, you know, that can play slightly different roles across that front line.
Thanks, Michael.
Might you come up against Stoke City, managed by Mark Robbins, who you've had many meetings with over recent years? What have you made of Stoke City under Mark?
Yeah, I think he's coming obviously fairly recent, and had a mixture of results. Really had some really good ones. I think they've got a real talented team. They've got some really good individuals, and obviously Mark's kind of putting them together and producing the team. So it's, yeah, listen, we know Stoke's a good team. It's always a tough place to go. It goes without saying. Mark's a good manager, so we got to be ready for whatever they throw at us.
Yeah, and with that Mark Robbins factor, obviously he's picked up quite a lot of good results against you, albeit at a different club. Is that something that potentially, you know, makes you consider, you know, maybe changing things up or trying different things for this game?
Not particularly, no. I think there's always thoughts, as we speak about quite a lot, of different ways of what we think they might do, what we need to do, how we can exploit it. They'll be thinking the same against us. In terms of past Middlesbrough Coventry games, I don't think that's relevant really so much, and especially this, you know, as we are, the feeling as we are, and wanting to go into the next game to win and be the best we can be. I think we got to, you know, rely on it and go towards the things that we're good at, and take that and keep using that as much as we can.
How's the injury picture looking for this one?
Yeah, pretty much the same. We haven't got anyone back apart from Ryan, who's recovered from his illness over the course of the weekend. So he's back in around it, which is good.
Yeah, and how far away is there anyone kind of particularly close? Maybe the weekend or like
not this weekend. No, won't be this weekend. Maybe a little bit further, but hopefully not too long after that. But yeah, maybe a week, 2 weeks, maybe.
Yeah, who we're looking at in terms of being quite close?
Yeah, Ben being around it at some point, maybe next week, without putting too much of a kind of a deadline on that. So people, everyone's waiting to see when he's fit. I get that. So we'll see. But yeah, they're not too far away, him and Riley, so that's good.
Yeah. I mean, obviously heading to Stoke, flip back 12 months ago, it was kind of a similar situation. I remember losing down at Stoke, and kind of we were talking about being close at the relegation zone at that point of the playoffs. It's obviously not quite as bad as that now, but obviously the run makes it feel as bad, if not worse. But what happened after Stoke? You beat Norwich and you went on this incredible run where you only lost one more game for the rest of the season. I know that can't have any impact in terms of what happens now, but is it, you know, an example of how quickly this could turn and,
Yeah, it definitely shows you what's possible. And we've said it, and we wouldn't have thought, no one would really have thought we would have had a run as recently as we had. That's totally be honest before it, and it can go the other way just as quick. I think there's plenty of examples in the league already of teams doing that and then going on good runs, and we can do that. We've done it before. We've got good players, and we can do it again. We can't assume that it doesn't just happen, but we can certainly take that belief that that's certainly possible.
Yeah. I know we've asked you recently, what makes you believe that you can turn this around, and you've mentioned, you've got good players, you've got a squad who have proven they can in the past. How do you kind of keep that belief high when it just doesn't seem to be turning for you?
Yeah, I think honestly, it's the boys are outstanding at how they keep approaching things and how positive they are and how they've come together, if anything, and so the intention, the work rate and the attitude is absolutely spot on. Of course, in sport you need things to go your way, you need little bits to feed off, to give you that extra little boost and that confidence, and sometimes it feels like nothing's going for you, but I think for us as a group, the thing that kind of shows us and gives us that hope and more belief than hope actually is the amount of times we've been up in games and in good positions in games, and we haven't finished the game off for whatever reason, and all that work that puts us in position and puts us in real positive positions is not easy to come by, and that takes good work, and so we're feeding off that, and what we have done, we've got to do that a little bit more to finish off in games.
Yeah, obviously finishing off games, that is a big factor. How do you change that in terms of being ahead in games, but then maintaining it for the full 90?
Yeah, it's a number of things. It's obviously how we see the games out, little things we do towards the end of the game, bit of mentality, a little bit of and getting that feeling of winning and not overthinking it as well. It can come into play where you really overthink it too much, and keep doing what we're good at, do the good things, keep doing them, be more consistent with it, all the things that we're doing to put ourselves in good positions in games, carry on that, and maybe not overthink it as much as we might.
Yeah, and just finally, you mentioned Iheanacho and the kind of role he's been playing alongside Tommy in recent games. Have you kind of seen positive signs between their link up and the team as a whole in terms of that potentially developing into something?
I thought the front four at times linked up pretty well the other night at certain points in moves, and the move to the goal was a fantastic goal, and you take it back all the way from Trav, built up all the way through the pitch. It was a fantastic goal, the first goal, and we had moments as well where we probably should have scored another one, or we definitely looked at times where we could have got another goal. So I think that's coming. I think there's the link up coming, and Morgan, I thought look comfortable and looked like it's coming, and he can be really dangerous for us. So that part of it's not far away. We needed a bit more of the ball, and we probably needed a little bit more control in possession than we did, but I thought when we did, we still looked dangerous.
Is it about kind of holding your nerve at the minute as well, Michael? Because I'm not saying it'll be easy, but there might be a temptation to start ripping things up and almost trying to change everything, which is probably going to be counterproductive, isn't it? Because you've got to have belief in what you're trying to do and what you believe in.
That's always the key decision, really, and we can never forget what we're good at as a group, what our strengths are. And certainly as individuals, as players as well, and what works for us. I think that's clear, and at times you can go off track a little bit. It's quite easy to question certain things, but I think it's really important to understand what we are good at, and double down on that, because that's what's got us the positions in games when we've been up and we've been in good positions. It's what put us in a good position in the league not so long ago, and it's where all the belief comes from, So it's important we do that.
And clearly when you were a player, you had a lot more good moments than bad ones, but you must have had bad spells, bad moments, times when personally it wasn't working for you, as a collective it wasn't working for you. I mean,
More than you think.
Were there certain things you were drawn then? Are there certain tactics or whatever that you would use to get you out of that you can pass on? Because
I think a lot of it comes from character and personality and trusting those around you more than anything. That you know you're all pulling in the same direction, and it kind of seems the obvious thing, and it gets thrown around kind of as a throwaway comment, and it's very easy to say that, but I don't feel that at all. I think if anything, the lads are so desperate and so keen to do well and do well for each other and do well for the club that it can almost have a counter effect at times because you're trying so hard, you know, and you, as going back to say, you forget about all the things. Yeah, I think it becomes so, and they're so desperate and keen and hungry, and the intentions is fantastic, and it takes that little bit, and sometimes going back you can overthink things a little bit, and you've got to take a deep breath and understand what we're good at, and focus on more of that and take the belief and the confidence from that.
And obviously, you know, a number of players came in January. Some have played a little bit more than others, but and they're all individuals. Clearly, they've all got different journeys. But do you feel like you've do you feel like they've settled in all right? Do you feel like you've got your head around what stage they're all at in terms of fitness, in terms of match sharpness, in terms of all of that?
Yeah, there's no getting away from it. It's been a difficult time to come into the team and to come into the group for that reason, because the results haven't been positive. So it's not easy to come into the group. That's not anything on the new players at all, and the players that we ended up getting in January. It's more of, it's just natural, you know, and but that doesn't mean that's how it's going to be. I think the boys they're all good players. And they fitted into the group fantastically well, actually, and again, the signs of how they've done that in the circumstances shows the character of the lads, because they could be questioning that, and there's no sign of that whatsoever. If anything, they're doubling down on fitting in and being part of things, and it's just one group all together and fighting for the same thing, which, again, in my position, seeing that in between them, as much as I'll lead and I'll take the responsibility, the players are an important part of it, and they've got to be in it together, and they've got to have each other's back, and they've certainly got that. I can see that, it's clear as day.